Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode and Get Good of Business at Business Highlight with Krystal Jugarap. I'm so excited to have her join us today. But before we get into the information about her, I just need to share a little bit about me. I am your host, Taylor Proctor, and your business coach, helping you get good at business so you can get back into the heart of why you got into business in the first place. And the way that we do that is through the I Move method, which stands for intuition, marketing, operations, velocity, and execution. And today I'm so excited to be joined by Krystal Jugarap to hear how she utilizes those components of I Move within her business. So let's dive into a little bit about her. She is the founder of the Book of Bijou and Empowered by Women. She's also a mom of 2 young girls and a soon-to-be baby boy. She's a mompreneur and has a deep admiration for other women pursuing their passions, paving their own entrepreneurial paths, and consecutively serving a crucial role models for future generations. Through Empowered by Women, she also works to empower women in entrepreneurship via vendor fairs, networking events, and her online woman-owned small business directory. Her mission is to serve as a reminder for all women, especially moms, that they are not only capable, but also so worthy of creating lives they love. Also, with her Empowered by Women community, she is able to boast inclusivity, diversity, boldness, innovation, and genuine friendship. It is a community rooted in the belief that there is room for all of us to succeed and that each of us has something truly special to offer. Women empowerment, community over competition, and giving back are the core values, and their mission is to help women increase their brand visibility and establish their authority as industry leaders. So, Krystal, thank you so much for joining us today and for being so willing to share more about your business journey with Book of Bijou and Empowered by Women.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Taylor, for having me. I apologize if you can kind of see me like moving around a little bit. I'm just rubbing my belly over here. We're about 7 months pregnant now, but I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, so good. So good. So let's dive right in. Was there a pivotal moment or inspiration that led you to establish both of your brands, the Book of Bijou and the empowering movement of Empowered by Women?
There was actually. So I have always been a creative person. I grew up in a creative household, and it was in high school when I knew that I was just destined to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what that was going to look like. I just had that itch and I knew it was going to happen eventually, right? So I always had just like little jobs here and there that kind of gave me some authority of what I was doing, because it kind of like scratched that itch for me a little bit. But I was still also very much in this, like, let me just do whatever the societal standards are in life, right? Let me finish high school, go to a good college, get a good job, all of that. And then years later, I became a first-time mom in 2018, and I was trying to find my way back to who I was. And creativity was that outlet for me. So I did a lot of DIYs, which I felt like went really hand in hand with motherhood, right? Birthday parties, coming up with decorations. And it felt good to be able to carve that time out for myself. So I had like this YouTube channel where I shared all of my DIYs and everything like that. And a few years before that, I was a jewelry stylist. So I had amassed quite a bit of jewelry. And now that I was a new mom, shelf space was really important, right? And I had all of these jewelry displays just like overtaking one of my shelves. And I was like, all right, I got to do something about this. I couldn't find anything online. So in true DIY fashion, I was like, I'm just going to create one. This will be great content, blah, blah, blah. In the middle of the night when I was brainstorming what this DIY would look like, again, it was just going to be for myself. I recognized the merit of the design. And I was like, you know what? Other people might need this. Like, I think this is, we're onto something.
There's something there.
Right. And it was in that moment, it felt like, okay, I think this is like the culmination of everything, all of those tiny little itches and those urges in my life has been building up to this point. And that was the start of this beautiful journey that I've been on. I really started diving into a mindset journey where I was like, okay, I feel like I've done everything people have asked me to do, right? I got the good job. I have a partner and the babies, and I've been doing everything people have asked me to do. Now I am going to start allowing myself to create the life that I've always envisioned for myself. and I'm just going to start doing it my way. So that was really the start of everything. We launched Book of Bijou in 2021. And with that, I knew I wanted to create a community around me just because I had experienced that previously when selling jewelry. I wanted that back. And so that's how Empowered by Women came about pretty shortly after launching Book of Bijou.
So cool. And I love that like there's an intuitive piece of that where it's like everything just kind of comes together and the idea comes and then that like, wow, there's something to this. So obviously you leveraged intuition and your experience and your needs all in kicking this off. How do you continue to leverage that to help shape the vision for Bijou and Empowered by Women?
Oh my gosh, I am leaning into my intuition so much. And I think that's such a beautiful part of the journey. What I love most about our Empowered by Women platform for sure is that it's really been this natural progression. Nothing has felt overly forced. Again, when I decided to launch my business in 2021, I went into it saying, I'm doing this for me. I'm creating a life that I want to live. I'm doing this for my family. So I've really allowed myself to lean into what feels good, right? When I launched our Empowered by Women platform, I had no idea what it looked like. What I did know was the energy that I wanted to create and the why behind wanting to create it. And everything after that kind of just fell into place naturally. And I was leaning into everything that felt really good. And of course, you know, once you start building momentum, all of these opportunities start knocking at your door, right? But it's important to be really mindful of what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. And it always came down to, you know, why am I doing this? What feels good? Where am I feeling that pull in the right direction? Where is the energy like the most tempting for me to want to keep building on that? And so far, it has not led me astray. So I'm going to continue down that path, right? I am listening to our community. I am allowing myself to listen to signs from the universe and that kind of gut reaction that I'm getting when I'm speaking to different people or I'm hosting different events or doing different things. I think there's definitely a hesitation for some people when it comes to pivoting in business, right? They feel like once they've done something or set out to do something, they have to stick to that. They have to commit to that. But I haven't put that boundary on myself. And there have been things that I've tried and I was like, okay, that was cool. I learned a lot. I don't know how I feel about it. Like I don't feel amped up about it. It doesn't really light my fire. And I'm also not getting that energy reciprocated back to me, that it's lighting other people's fire. So what is the point in, you know, continuing to pursue that, right? So I definitely lean into my intuition on a daily basis when it comes to big decisions, small decisions. And I'm really in the season of my life where I want to live in full alignment. I want to do what feels good. And when you do what feels good, like you show up in a completely different way, right? And then that energy rubs off on all the people around you. And they're like, I want some of that. I want to be a part of that. And we've continued to see the momentum build from there.
I love it. And 100% completely agree. And so I think when we talk about the M in iMove, the marketing, right? You said like that energy rubs off and like people can feel it and they want to be a part of that and you're able to show up authentically. So would you mind shedding some light on the strategies that you have found incorporating that and traditional marketing that have been most effective for promoting the Book of Bijou as well as the Empowered by Women community?
Yeah, I think authenticity is a lot of it, and it's storytelling, right? When we launched, I made the decision really early on that I wanted to be a brand that was very transparent. I didn't want to just be this beautiful brand where people can just watch from afar and see all the highlights. I wanted to create really an experience and a journey for all of us to be a part of together. And I think that plays a huge role in the way that we market because it's not coming from it doesn't feel like it's coming from like this sales perspective, right? Where I'm just trying to grow and find people to come to us. I am showing up very passionately and very loudly passionately, right? So we hosted our first events in May of 2022. I'm already starting to lose track of the timeline. And that was our first time that we got to show up in person. And that was really what put us on the map in terms of like a reputable community centric brand, right?
Yeah.
But of course, we can't always show up in person. So as much as I think being able to market yourself in person is great because you're showing people your energy and you're able to have those conversations and tell them what it is that you're trying to create and also show them what it is that you're creating because they're in that space. Being able to also translate that into the digital space has been really important for us. Most of our community, we're entrepreneurs, we're small business owners, we're vendors that go to these events. That's majority of who our audience is. So being able to find a way to connect with them has been paramount. And again, it is the way that you show up in social media. I think a lot of times it seems like it can be very superficial, but we've found ways to really leverage it to continue building relationships where it's not just like, okay, we followed each other. Yeah, I know her from a distance, but what can we do to continue nurturing this relationship? So we use different features in the digital world. It's like collaborations, right? Joint giveaways, interviews, making sure we're tagging each other and really sharing each other. And I show up on stories just the same way that I show up in the market. And I tell people what I'm excited about. And really just being kind of everywhere, right? So making sure we're presenting ourselves in a way that is easily engageable, easily shareable, and people are wanting to tell their friends about us. And it really becomes this really natural word of mouth that has been amazing.
So fantastic. So when we look at operations, right, pulling in from you guys are being everywhere, you're showing up authentically, you're using these tools, you're collaborating, you're hosting events, and you're also a mother of two, soon to be three, and have a partner. And it's these two different arms of your business, the Book of Bijou, which is product based, and then the Women Empowered by Women community, online community based as well. There's got to be some operational support there, right? So what have you implemented to help support the growth of both of your brands, operationally speaking, to really help them grow and help you maintain sanity?
Yeah, well, like I said, when we launched, I had no idea what it was going to look like, right? So I was kind of just like, very like lackadaisical about it and just going with the flow. And then when we really started seeing some movements, I was like, okay, this obviously, as a mompreneur, this is tough. I still have a full-time job. I'm trying to grow the business. I'm trying to grow these babies. It's a lot. So a lot of it came to trying to figure out how to streamline our processes, right? And making sure we have the right funnels in place so we're still not missing out on that key connection that we can be making with everyone that we're coming across in the digital space or in the physical world. Just making sure all of those things are streamlined. So while we're not heavily focused on our follower counts or those kinds of numbers, of course, we still pay attention to it. We're paying attention to the relationships that are starting to form and those kinds of conversations that we're having. So there's different things that we've put in place in terms of how we are going to craft those funnels to make sure that we are leveraging social media and we are furthering the connection that we can with every single person that may be following us, whether it's kind of, funneling them towards our email list where we do monthly newsletters now, and then paying attention to those metrics as well. What in the newsletters are they clicking on and resonating with the most? Again, where is that energy building up the most, and what is the community asking for, and what can I continue to lean on that they're looking for, that I'm excited to provide to them. So having little things like that and really paying attention to what's working, like where on social media are they really resonating with what's getting shared the most, what is getting people to talk about us or to tag their people. Like I said, everything is very engageable. So we actually pay attention to, but what is actually engaging, right? Or things like that.
I love that. And I think that that's very strategic, right? It's very much utilizing operations and the data and the analytics to help support the strategies and decisions to grow the business. So what other strategies have you found to be most effective for accelerating the velocity of Bijou and Empowered by Women?
I'm going to have to go with our connections in our community and the relationships that we're building, because this has been very much a community-made movement. I could not create a platform solely based on me. It has nothing to do with me, but everything to do with the people that are in our community. And from the get-go, I've had the honor of making such incredible connections and people just wanting to work with me for the sake of, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of this vision. Let's do something together. And that's what really builds your reputation, right? Your credibility, and also your audience, because you're starting to leverage the audiences of other people. So visibility is actually our word of the year for 2024. And it's making those connections, right? And recognizing that inserting yourself into various communities really can be so game changing. Obviously, we're creating our own, but not everything has to be done from scratch. And there are already different communities out there, and being able to, work with other women that are just as ambitious, that are just as creative, that dream just as big, and being able to share resources and share ideas and let that keep fueling you. And then leveraging each other's audience, showing up there, continuing to build your credibility, continuing to build that momentum. It's just this snowball of what's next, what else can I do? I'm so excited for the future. I'm so excited for this next collaboration and who that's going to be able to, expand me to, and then those connections that I can continue to build. But all of it is really based on the connections that we're making and how we can continue to further those connections, right? We do one thing, maybe you and I, after this call, what can we do next? Where else can we collaborate? Our visions are so aligned. I would love to keep helping each other out. That's been really the backbone of how we continue to push forward.
So good. And it really is that, like, from what I'm gathering, it's that visibility, the strategy of visibility and connection. And that is the building blocks, really. So when we look at 2024 and your word being visibility, what are you focusing on in your business to really look at and build the future of Bijou and Empowered by Women?
So like I said, everything was like a natural progression, right? So in 2022, that's when we started diving into our markets. In 2023, we launched our online women-owned small business directory. And now, very recently, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to dive into,
Sure.
but I've had this very strong pull from the universe and from our community to do something a little bit more in the physical space and create different types of gatherings. Obviously, we've done the marketing, the markets, and the networking, but there's something big there that I'm very excited to be looking into. And then what I can share is our membership. So we've restructured what our Empowered by Women platform looks like. We have 3 different membership tiers. And we're really looking to see how we can provide the most value to our women that are in our community and what it is that they're looking for most. So we've recently launched what we're calling our Momentum calls. So it's like momentum, but it's with women, right? When you're putting yourself in that space with women, you really start building that momentum. So Momentum weekly calls where we can offer each other coaching and sharing those resources. So building up our membership is definitely a high priority for us, and that's really coming with what kind of value can we continue to bring with them or bring to them, and the visibility of it as well. Because if we're expanding our awareness of our platform, that's bringing eyes to the women that are in our directory, right? And that's bringing them support. So we're also looking to bring on a couple of partnerships with different storefronts, different brands, not only to build the visibility, but to, again, continue bringing that value to our members, hopefully providing some exclusive discounts to them so they can really up-level their own businesses. So a lot of things in the works, but again, I'm really in this space of just doing what feels good, especially while I'm 7 months pregnant and I'm expecting a lot of transition in the next few months. We'll see what this baby allows me to do, but I am very excited about the future.
So good. And I think that really all comes back to being aligned, following that flow, following your intuition, and showing up authentically. And all of your other pieces have really come into play for that. And as I recall, you also have a free checklist for everyone watching and listening that has to do with that, building a community that's aligned and authentic. Do you want to share some information about that?
Absolutely, yes, because this just goes back to what we were talking about, right? Where a lot of people, for social media, it's just very surface level, right? So there's no engagement, there's no connection, there's no relationship. It is purely just follow for follow, and then that is it. But there is so much power in social media and in your website if you are using it right. And all of these amazing connections that I've made true friendships that I expect to last through the end of my days from social media. And in this checklist, it's a comprehensive list of 20 little check boxes where you can go into your Instagram as well as your website, and it touches on all of these points and features that you could be utilizing in a certain way to make sure you're nurturing the relationship, right? So it's going far beyond just clicking that like button or clicking that follow button. What's the next step, and how can you continue to funnel anyone that comes your way into the right direction where it potentially does lead to a collaboration or something like that, or a client, a customer, whatever the case may be, or a friend in my case, because like I said, I've made so many amazing relationships already. So the checklist shows all of, the key tips that we've been putting into place in terms of how we've leveraged social media, because it is a really great tool if you know how to use it.
So good. So that link to the checklist is empoweredbywomen.com free checklist. And that link is in our description for this live Get Good at Business highlight. So Krystal, thank you so much for showing up so authentically, being so candid and real about your business journey and how you utilize the components of iMove for you and your success with Bijou books, or your book of Bijou and Empowered by Women. Really appreciate your time here today. And anyone watching, we will have more amazing business highlights just like this one in the future. So make sure you stay tuned, stay active in the group, and remember that you can get good at business.
Thank you.